Back-to-back wins against Crawley and most recently Exeter have really lifted the mood in RG2 over the last couple of days. Really positive results, growing confidence in the team on the pitch, and things appear very, very slowly to be moving along a little bit more than they were off the field. Could this be the season that the Royals really do become the Royals and we get our club back on every single front? Who knows? Here to talk today on episode 393 is Ross, but this time we don't have any time zones to contend with. Ross, you look like you're in a library.
Yes.
Are you in a library?
Well, to a certain degree, my dad's library. So it's very, very sci-fi, very Tolkien, very. It's basically the fantasy section of a Waterstones that's made its way through various moves to. I'm just outside of Andover, so that's where we are. So yeah, very
right.
much,
Well, okay. So that's very much almost local, isn't it?
very much almost local. Yeah, I've been around for a week now. I've only just had a pooled pint of real ale. As Camera would say. So if this gets a little bit off the road, blame them.
Yeah, well, that's good. It's good that you're back, and we're going to attend a game together on Saturday. How exciting is that? We'll talk about that in the preview when that comes up. But we are here on.
Well, go ahead. I was going to actually hang on. I was saying I've only met Ben once, and it was when I did the halftime game once. Obviously, I've met Ben a million times. What a game too it was! I touched that ball 3 times, and but like it'll be good. Yeah, we're going to watch a game, and you have to put up with my tactical nonsense all game. Like whenever somebody kicks it off, yeah, why is he not passing it short? Why is he not going around the side? Why is he not inverting? All these things and more for you to look forward to.
The ball retention in this game is frankly appalling. Stuff like that.
Carries are out the window.
The progressive carries. With their legs. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all that good stuff. Well, we are on episode 393. We are saying thanks, as always, to ZZ Films for their support, love, care, consideration, all that kind of stuff. It is late. It is 9:25 on Thursday. We've deliberately held it back because we've got 2 succulent wins to talk about, richly deserved wins as well. And we're going to do that right now. So take a very short break and we will be back with some analyses. Something like that anyway. Analysis. We'll just call it that. We'll see in a bit.
Something like that.
Right, welcome back to episode 393 of the Tilehurst podcast. We're fast approaching episode 400. This is really exciting stuff. Who knew that we would ever get the chance to do? Well, I don't know. We might be removed by episode 400. I don't know. It's only 7 weeks away, but we'll see. So we've
quickly on that about being, apparently Mark Mayo is in the away end with me a little bit further down the way on Tuesday. So maybe he was lurking, getting ready to take me out. He knows that we're back in RG2, so it was time. So maybe Mark. He was
the killer whale, and you were the seal.
Yes, very, very much so. Very much so, indeed. Yeah. So maybe we get all the old hosts back for the 400. Who knows?
That's a good idea, actually. That's a good idea. But anyway, we are fast approaching episode 400. We're also fast approaching, I don't know, is it too early for a playoff push? I'm not sure. I mean, we're going to start with Exeter first of all, because that's kind of fresh in our memories. And Ross actually went to that. And I, being the plastic fan that I am, watched it on Sky Sports. Good coverage, actually, I have to say, on the red button. Very, very easy to find this time. All the games available if you are, a horrendous armchair fan like me. But it was really, really enjoyable to watch it. And we were really, really good. We're doing all right at the moment. Yeah. We're doing okay. Like it really was a lightning fast start. A lightning fast start, even start. 58 seconds, I believe, for Jaden Wareham to knock the goal in straight away on his first league start, I believe, as well. Listen, what were your main takeaways from the win down in Exeter on Tuesday night?
My main takeaways were that you deserved a game inside or indoors or whatever it was. Seeing as I watch, most of the games indoors, with a coffee and my dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And my dog draped across me, so it's all very calm and nice. So it was good, to get into the away end, a good standing away end too. Extra, not for Sim. Sim got a seat, of course, because the toffee is. But other than that, it was great. Yeah.
Did he have his prawn sandwich in his little satchel as well? A loser.
Didn't even want to go near the sandwiches. Yeah, but no, you don't expect when you go into an away game against a team who are sitting in the playoff spots and haven't conceded a goal in gosh knows how long, to then score in the first minute with your academy product striker. Or I guess he's not academy product for Reading, but young striker. Let's go with that. So yeah, really, really great first half in general from Reading. But let's talk about that goal from Wareham because it was in the first minute. So let's get started with that. I love that goal. Really, really nice. Obviously, it's a good hit, and if you hit it hard and low into the side netting, there aren't that many goalkeepers in League One who are going to save that. But the thing I really liked about it was the turn that he did before that. Obviously, Nibs wins the ball, and that's something we've seen him do before, and that side of pressing football is something that this team is just good at. So those are things we've seen before. But from Wareham, a kid who, I think when he was announced in the team sheet, there were some murmurings, like both online and, in the stadium as well. Although that seems interesting. But silence those doubters immediately. That turn, and I saw the size of that centre back that he's just bodied off the ball at the same time as making that turn around. It's a back foot take while he's also shouldering someone off and then turning. Exceptional. That is absolute peak striker work there. Really, really impressive. So, yeah, just a great way to start a game. But Reading didn't let up at all. They were good throughout the whole of the first half. I don't think that Exeter's system was working for them. Really, I don't know if that's what they play normally or if they game plan for Reading or what. But I don't think that it was working for them, whatever it was. Partially because whenever their forwards came forward, Bindon, among others, could just play out so easily. And there was obviously some skill in there from Tyler. But he was just playing one-touch passes. People come towards him and bang, one-touch pass out and Reading are gone again. Or at the same time, he's perfectly comfortable holding that ball, waiting, and just letting that striker come close to him, come close. Oh, and the ball's behind you. It's gone. Really, really great performance, I thought, from him in particular in the first half. I know Mbenge will get a lot of the plaudits because he's very rock and roll. He's very bluster. But I just thought that, that the play from Bindon in the first half to break Reading out over and over again, from the right side, by the way. He was playing on the right side of central defense, which looked to be something whereby Mbenge was supporting Garcia. Really impressive. So, yeah, really great first half. Did you see that John Clark was very excited that Michael Craig had scored a goal?
Yeah, I think it was more to do with the fact that his graphic was put up when Michael Craig actually scored online, to be honest with you. But yeah, I did see that. It was good. Listen, we can pick out individual players at this point. Michael Craig has been outstanding at right back. There's no other word for that, really. He's been absolutely exceptional in that role. He is, for me, he is an out and out what a right back should be. I love that position. Anyone knows who knows me, who listens to the pod, knows I like the the fullbacks, if you want to call them that, as an old school term, and he's been absolutely fantastic. I really like Garcia as well as a player. I think he has got a lot of potential, and actually what we're looking at now is kind of settled positions. It doesn't matter the age, and Sellers has always been really clear on that in terms of that old cliche, if you're good enough, you're old enough, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I really, really like the balance those fullbacks at the moment. I still think Garcia has an awful lot to learn. Obviously, we subbed off around the 60-something minute, late 60s maybe, for Harley Dean, who I thought was exceptional when he came on as well, really. And that's an entirely different redemption arc that we're talking about with him. But there were changes made, significant changes to the team. Pereira came straight back in. Thought he was very, very solid. And that really tells you everything you need to know about the goalkeeping department. The minute he's fit enough to come back in, there's no question he comes straight back in. Obviously, Wareham we've talked about with a goal, which was delighted for him. I saw him a few times for the under-21s last year, and he was very, very good. And he is a player.
You were on him early.
Yeah,
that one.
I think this time last year, Sellers was talking about him in terms of learning systems and stuff, and for me, he's done that, and I'm really, really pleased for him. I thought we'll talk about Crawley in a minute. I didn't think Sam Smith was particularly good against Crawley. Obviously, he's got his goal, but it's not been right this season. And of course, Kelvin coming back to the side as well. So I thought there was a really nice balance. The press was excellent. A huge part of that was a young Welshman by the name of Charlie Savage, who I know you want to talk about. Here's the first question for you about Charlie Savage. Okay. If he was a sandwich, what sandwich would he be?
You think some sort of Welsh rarebit sandwich, right? I think
we can't. I don't make sandwiches up.
They don't make sandwiches out of those. I'm trying to think. One time I was made very aware that there's actually a very big difference in sandwiches between England and America. But I'll try to. I let's call it. He's a Philly cheesesteak of a sandwich. He's satisfying, but occasionally over the top, if that makes sense. I think that Savage, it's funny. Savage actually so deservedly kept his place in the team. I think, and I think this is the first time this season that he bumped Elliott out of the team, who I do think was in need of a rest. He's probably gone through his first period in professional football where he's actually been starting games consistently for a few months now. Savage didn't really touch the ball a whole lot though, which was quite interesting. I think he had like around 20 touches in the entire game. He was good in the press, you're right, and he's cut down on the diving, going a little too far, getting too close to his attacker too quickly. You want your defenders to get close and then slow down, basically, so they're there to clean up a loose touch rather than go sliding or diving in or whatever. He did have a chance to really make that second half a lot easier. We haven't mentioned yet, the second half was tough for Reading. And I think that something we saw against Crawley that we saw again against Exeter. I'm a slight diversion here to Garcia. The seam ball behind Garcia is a real struggle for him. So a seam being that, that kind of space in between him and in this game it was Mbenge. Basically, a player can come over to that, play the ball into that space behind Garcia. He has a lot of trouble at the moment tracking both the ball and the runner. So he'll often find himself ball watching and then getting behind the sprinter coming towards the ball. So I think that became a little bit of an issue that Exeter were able to target. Obviously, the goal came on the other side, the shot eventually, but the cross came in, from Garcia's side with it coming on over. But there were good moments from him as well. A really nice step around a presser at one point to drive the ball forward into a position that I think either Savage or Kelvin should have scored from. It was a very long way away from me. I
think Kelvin got in his way, didn't he? Kelvin messed it up for him.
Was it Savage?
Well, and then shot, but Kelvin got in his way. For me, Savage is a club sandwich because he's got everything. Do you know what I mean?
Sorry, I didn't ask you the sandwich.
Well, that's fine. It's all good. You mentioned about the amount of touches. That's what Sellers wants him to do, though, in terms of the press and kind of really being proactive in that energy. And that's what he brings to this team. And when it works, it works. And I honestly feel that with Savage, he's really underrated by this fan base. And I think I will always go to bat for him because not just because of the Welsh thing, but I think he's a good player. His attitude is spot on. And I think, and I've said this before, I think he's harshly treated by Sellers. I really do. I don't think he gets enough opportunity. And in my head, I was like, after Crawley, he scored a great reaction. It was a reaction goal, really great finish. Very few players in our team can do that at that pace. He's able to do that regularly. But I was half expecting to be dropped. Kelvin's coming back in, change it around again, keep Ben Elliott in. I didn't want that, but that's what I was expecting. I was really delighted when he kept his place, and I think now, the balance. I mean, for me, Harvey Nibbs is, when he's fit, is the first player on a team sheet for me. Harvey Nibbs is excellent in terms of his energy and what he can do. Lewis Wing is Lewis Wing, but for me, those three at the moment are really working well, and they have the energy and the drive, and they have the goals as well to be able to go, do you know what? It's your shirt to lose. And I really, really hope, for Savage's sake, that he is able to stay in the team for a prolonged period of time now, and keep chipping away at those, not so much stats, but making the goals. Let's not. I know it's really obvious to say, but he got an assist on Saturday. That simple pass to Lewis Wing.
All right,
just gives him the space to do it. Those little things he does that go unnoticed. He just gives those other players. He makes other players look good as well. He gives them space. He gives them time, because he does a lot of the dirty work off the ball as well. And I think that, for me, that's part of a really well-oiled midfield engine. And I just hope that he's given an opportunity now, over a period of time, to really express himself and to really have that confidence. Because I always feel with him that he's looking over his shoulder and saying, if I misplace this pass, I have a bad game, I know I'm out. And I don't think any other player in that team is treated in that way. And I don't have a list of stats, I don't have a list of player ratings to back that up. It's just the feeling that I have when I watch him play, is that he knows he's going to be bombed out if he doesn't do X, Y, and Z in the game. And I don't think any other player has that in this team currently, apart from the goalkeepers, but that's a different issue.
I can back that up. I think, because I agree. I think Garcia's done enough things recently. I know Garcia is very, very young and does things that are quite impressive for someone so young. But I do think that, again, because he keeps getting beaten with the same ball, I thought we might see Harley Dean come in and Mbenge go out to left back for this particular Exeter game. I'll say real quick on Charlie Savage too. Part of that, I mentioned just briefly, he didn't get many touches against Exeter. That was mostly from what I could see, because Reading are attacking down the right side. We had Nibbs at that right side at 8. Good to see him back in the midfield. I'm sure we'll talk about the front line for the Crawley game. The goal seemed to be to attack down the right and leave a lot of space for Kelvin to try and end up 1v1. On the top left side there of the attack. And that meant that a lot of the time the ball was getting sent along to Kelvin, meaning that Savage just wasn't as close to the play. And that meant that he wasn't, necessarily getting as many short touches in possession or those kinds of things. So, I think that Savage now probably deserves to keep his place in the team again. I think that Elliott, like I said, has been. I think it's impossible to deny that during the time, especially in the first few months and the first probably month of this season as well, Elliott was really playing well, to the point where he was one of the best players on the team at that time. But he has gone off the boil just a little bit for me. I think that if you're going to drop Savage for making mistakes, you have to keep that fair all the way around. And I would say that I don't think Garcia at times has done enough to keep his place, and yet he has. That might be because Sellers, is really liking what he's seeing from Garcia. It might be something I haven't spotted yet. Again, he's a 16-year-old kid who's doing some really impressive things on the field. But there have been, if you're going to drop Savage for certain things, other players are culpable as well. Savage has cut down on the amount of times, like I said, that he's just diving in a little bit too much. So, I think, you've got a 4-year contract on Savage, and if you want him to be happy and staying, with the team for as long as possible, something that really we can't afford for players not to want to be in that state of mind right now. There comes a man management side of it, as well as the football side of it. There is a psychology side of it, and I think that given the start to the season in terms of goal scoring that Savage has had, he probably should now keep his place in the team for Bristol Rovers. And with these, I think Sellers thinks that Elliott's a bit more defensively responsible. And I'm not so sure about that at the moment. I had some real issues with how Elliott was playing the game against Exeter in the second half, just off over and over again. Swathes of space for the left winger to just run into, and I'm sitting there where is the right-sided midfielder? He should be there.
Yeah.
I think there's some communication issues between Elliot and Akande. Often when they end up on the right side together, it really breaks down. We saw this in like a lot of short corners not being properly cleaned up in the Crawley game. And I think we saw it again with Exeter being able to just drive straight onto that side. So
I mean, there was a few short corners in the Crawley game, so anyone who watched that is like, "Well, this is happening again and again." Like, this is a repeating Truman Show, Groundhog Day sort of pattern that we've got here at the moment. I mean, look, let's just round off Exeter in terms of the touches and what players can and can't do. So we had 37% possession against Exeter to their 63, because that adds up to 100. That's how percentages work. And then in the Crawley game, we had 39% and they had 61. Yeah. So we're not getting a lot of the ball at the moment, but we are taking the chances that, 6 goals over the last 2 games, well taken goals against Crawley. And that goes some way to explaining the lack of touches that every player really has kind of experienced over the course of the last the last 2 games, really. So let's talk about Crawley a little bit. Thoroughly enjoyable, but probably not for the reasons that everyone would think when you've won 4-1, because it was just a bit of a weird game. Like, I don't think Crawley were that bad, but we scored some absolute belters, like some really, really, that's a really good goal, that. I really like Mbenge's goal. The position for that was brilliant. He just sort of wandered up into the box and took his chance. Lewis Wing goal, exceptional.
They didn't let him shoot ever, by the way. Exeter, I know, like, he got the shot that eventually, came back out for Craig to finish off. And there was one other, I think, in the second half where he hit almost straight at the goalkeeper. Every time Lewis Wing got close to goal with the ball at his feet, every player within a 10-mile radius basically was like, absolutely not. They were coming straight in on him. It was really fun, actually, to watch him warm up in the shooting practice, just to see him place shots wherever he wants. It's great, when, like, I know we're watching League One and everything, but it is really fun to remember that these guys are really good at football, and when they have time on the ball, they can just put it wherever they want. And it was also fun dodging balls in the away end. So, also all good stuff. My wife was very scared. We had just put our hot chocolate and our coffee down. But I digress. Crawley, sorry.
I want to come back to that, actually, because I know you love a meal, so I want to know what
quick point on Crawley.
So we had, obviously, Lewis Wing, great goal. Savage's goal was great as well in terms of a reaction. The ball came out to him and there's only one thing on his mind. And again, I think there's very few players in our team, if any, that would have taken that chance as well as he did. And then obviously, Sam Smith's goal, which he desperately needed. He's not, we've talked about him before, he's not had a good season. Interesting celebration. I think there's been some comments this week online about him being overrated, which I'm led to believe is a little bit tongue-in-cheek. I don't think he's overrated at all. I think he's had a difficult season so far. But I would much rather have a squad with Sam Smith in it than not at this level, for sure. Works incredibly hard off the ball. The space that he creates with the runs in terms of taking those players out, very, very good. And we saw that on Saturday against Crawley. Ball comes over the top. He's created the space for himself with the run that he made. Excellent finish. Goalie had no chance. I mean, the goalie was terrible, by the way. He was really bad. But like they weren't collectively, they weren't a bad side. You can see they're stuck in a rut. You can see that everything they're trying to do is not working currently. And as much as I despise the geographical element of that town, as anyone who listened to episode 392 will know, I felt bad for them. Obviously I'm a Reading fan first and foremost, and I will always take the win over anything. But you could see what they were trying to do. Certainly in that period when it was kind of 1-1, they were pushing. They were really pushing for them.
I mean, hey, it took one of the best goals.
I'm talking about 2-1 in the second half when it was 2-1.
No, but even then, I think you're right. Oh, sorry, I was going to say even at 1-1, I agree at 2-1 as well. Like you look at momentum charts, and Crawley were all over us at 2-1 as well, but 1-1 as well.
Yeah,
From what I saw, and well, actually, no, I rewatched the whole game, so not from what I saw, but it took Lewis Wing scoring one of the best goals I've ever seen in my entire life, and again with a slightly dodgy keeper. To basically turn that game completely on its head. Quick word on Smith. I'm wondering if he's fit. He didn't start, obviously, against Exeter. And then the general rumblings that I kind of agreed with in the away end, and I don't agree with everything that's said. Actually, I don't agree with a lot of what's said sometimes in but he didn't look fit. I don't think he just couldn't run at times. Like there were some occasionally when he was able to get up a bunch of straight line speed, he could get going, but like he didn't quite look as agile as usual. And as soon as the game finished, obviously it was a big emotional moment because we managed to win that away game and kind of get that monkey off our backs for the season. But he collapsed to the ground and stayed down for quite a while, and not injured or anything like that. Just very heavy breathing. I wonder if he's sick. Honestly, like there's enough of that going around right now, isn't there?
He's expected to do a lot in this team. I know that we technically line up with the three, up top, but he's the focal point of what we do. And when you, particularly where I sit at home, like, when he's attacking the Dolan, he doesn't stop. He just does not stop moving. You don't see him walking around. And that, in this league, the amount of pelters that he gets from the very physical defenders and the amount of stress that he puts on his body, it's a lot, and we don't have the depth that we probably need up front. Like Wareham's come in. I really like Wareham as a player. Is he ready for regular League One football? I don't know. I really don't know. Obviously, proves straight off the bat that he can score at this level, and he will continue to do that given the opportunities. But Sam Smith is a very unique player in that last season his goals carried us. This season his work rate carries us, and we're not seeing that goal return. And I think I've always said that part of a striker's role is to not really score goals, but to create space for other people to bring into the play. And he does that. He does that. And I said it a couple of weeks ago with Sarah. I felt that he needed a break out of the team, not because he was playing badly, but just because he looked like he was fatigued, and I think the point you're making about him collapsing at full time and potentially being it, we don't know. And he is a very confident young man. He's a very, very confident young man. He will not want to be out of this team because he knows there's goals to be had, but he also knows the incredible role that he plays in this team. So any talk of him being overrated, however tongue-in-cheek it is, I think is complete nonsense personally. I really do. And I think you look at anyone in League One, possibly even Championship level, mid to lower, I don't know, that they would love to have a player like Sam Smith in their team, a player who can score goals, but also puts the work rate in as well. He's not a poacher. You can tell that by the goals that he scores, but he just doesn't stop for the time that he's on the pitch. And we've asked a lot of him in this team with very little support in some of these games, particularly away. So he's ploughing lonely furrows at times, and I hope that changes a little bit for him for his own sake, so we can get more returns across the board.
I think he's actually on track. I've just been, doing a little bit of super cool Googling to check in. And I think he's going to be, obviously he missed like the start of last season, so he could have done even better than he did last season. But I think he's on track to get pretty much the same goal return, if not a little bit more this year. So he's already on 4, maybe 5 in all competitions. Obviously, it's really good news that Wareham scored, and hopefully that keeps some friendly competition up between the two of them. But I mean, like, even, if you're, it's what people used to say about Manchester United, like if they're not playing well and they're still winning, if you're not playing quite as well as we know you can and you're still scoring, like, fair enough, really. I would, I always want every player on the team to play really well. But if he's doing his job, which is to score goals, I think it's important. Obviously, he's taxed some on recently that have helped that out and helped him out. He is very rated by, you mentioned any other team in the league would love to have a player like that. He is very rated by opposition fans. Obviously, he's been in this league longer than we have, and they've seen him for longer than we have. And he's right up
Not
there with
Oxford, mate.
not
Oxford hate him.
yeah, well, yeah, but less said about them, the better. I don't even want to talk about their start to the season. It's disgusting stuff.
No, it's vomit-inducing, isn't it? Vomit-inducing.
It's only slightly helped by the fact that Pompey are bottom of the league. So yeah, but yeah, really good. I guess full circle. Great to see where starting to push there a little bit, and scored a nice goal as well in the Car Cup against West Ham. So yeah, I mean, like on the board, off and rolling, and now he's up and running in the EFL as well. So hopefully that's the first of many. Again, that turn against what was a huge centre back, really, really impressive. Yeah, the more we see from Warren, the better. But yeah, I think Smith still putting goals in the back of the net, doing a slightly different role in the press this year, which keeps him further away. Oh, I've done a little thumbs up for any video watchers. And oh yes, video, real quick, by the way. The Tilehurst End podcast is now available in video form, entire video form.
Is it?
It is, yeah. I don't know if you've seen this.
The whole oh, mate, I wouldn't have done something. I haven't done anything rude. Like I've not like, but like what I mean is, I'd probably be a bit more conscious that I wouldn't be like, I don't know, what have I done? Have I done? I don't know.
Yeah, before we went.
Yeah. Like,
today.
Am I getting image rights for this? The whole thing? It's on video, is it?
The whole thing is now available.
Can everyone see the shirts we're wearing?
Yeah.
Because I know that caused a ruckus last week. Look at this. I've got this one sponsored by Lucozade Sport as well. Look, #United here. Bit of non-league action. And Ross has got a Shamrock Rovers all the way from Ireland.
Yeah.
Which is a little place off the coast of the UK. And what do they sponsor? Mascot Workwear.
Mascot Workwear. Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
That was good. It was really nice, actually. I visited the Shamrock Rovers Stadium on my way to a wedding last week. It's the, I was about to call it the birthplace. It's not the birthplace, but it's the football birthplace of Noel Hunt, which is very cool. Our academy manager. So went and visited their stadium last week. Lovely little spot. It's got a really nice 5G pitch right next to it. Right. And then I just got there. Yeah. It's really cool. You can like rent it out and all these kinds of things. And then my wife is horrified. Like she's like, we've got a couple weeks off football for once, because she plays, co-ed football with me all the time. She's like, great, we got a few weeks off. First thing we do, straight to Shamrock Rovers Stadium, see the little 5G pitch right there next to it. What have they done? They've left the ball on it. So immediately, obviously, I had to
smash it.
Yeah, start juggling and smashing the thing around. So she thought she was on vacation. There's no such thing as a vacation from football. Football never sleeps.
Football never sleeps. They've always said that. Football never, ever sleeps. There's no natural segue into the next bit, which is effectively the preview. We don't have a mailbag because we didn't advertise that we were doing the pod, which is why.
That's my fault. Don't blame
it's sloppy. It is what it is, but this is what you've come to expect. What is nice is that a few people have got in touch and said, when's the next one out? So you obviously some of you like what we do, which is heartwarming, really. But we don't have anything in the mail. Well, yeah, also. We've got nothing in the mail.
Can I plug one more thing then? So obviously, you've just heard half an hour of our thoughts on these two games. But if that's only whetted your appetite, I went off the chain for ratings against Exeter and wrote almost 2,000 words. You can check that out. Ratings after every game.
2,000 words of ratings.
I lost my mind. Sim was really annoyed at me because he was like, "When are we actually going to?"
What did you give? Let me have a look a minute.
Who do you want to? And then I'll just while you're looking that up, I'll quickly mention. I also did a live, in inverted commas, watch along for the Crawley game. So I missed that game because I was at.
That's funny. That I like that thread. I didn't retweet it. I couldn't be bothered.
No,
I thought it was funny.
long. But yeah, I watched through the whole game and just gave some sort of tactical thoughts on the Crawley game. Tried to explain a little bit about what was going on with Crawley, and really, mostly focused on Reading, obviously, because that's what I'm interested in. But yeah, if you're interested in more tactical thoughts about what was going on in that game, you can check out my thread. That one's on my account, I think, not on the Tilehurst End account. So there we go. Okay. But yes, thank you to everyone who reached out this week. And one last one, Ben, then we can go into the ratings thing. Thank you to the lad in the away end who said he liked the pod. That was very kind of him. So
did he say like the pod, or did he say like you? Because there's a massive difference here.
No, he said he liked the pod. So we'll take that as a 50-50 one. We'll hand the plaudits equally there. So there you go.
Well, if it was you who shouted at Ross, thanks for doing that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's just nice, isn't it? Just a nice thing to do. What did you give Joel Pereira? I don't read ratings. I think ratings are pointless for players, but I'm sure you do a great job.
Yeah.
What did you? Well, they're not that pointless, but I'm interested.
No,
Go on. What do you give?
Whatever. 7. I thought he's great. He had Exeter. Okay. He had 4 saves, and also some nice jumps for joy when we scored our goals. So that was all good. No, he was good. I think the team just feels a bit more solid with Pereira at the back there. He is just he's a bit all action. I mean, he broke his face because he's all action. That's why he was out. So. Yeah, he's
a solid goalkeeping chap.
I did actually think, it's funny. I thought Crawley was one of David Button's best performances in a Reading.
It was, it was all right. Well, I mean, there was a heart and a moment, Mouth, when he rolled the ball over his, and I was like, "Don't do that. Seriously, do not do that." I was not happy at that point.
There was the moment that Mbenge had to clear off the line as well, which was caused by David Button. So that wasn't good. But yeah, no, Pereira got a 7. It was a very good performance from him, and he helped just like slow things down a little bit. Shout out to Mbenge too, who got booked for his throw-in routine, taking a long time in the second half, and then proceeded to probably slow down rather than speed up for the rest of the game. One very funny part. He was on the left side.
You've got to respect the process.
Oh, you got to respect the process. He was on the left side, the Rory D-lap process for the long throws. He was on the other side, right? Because he's playing left back at this point. And Michael Craig, he's just won himself a throw in all the way down the right side. And Michael Craig starts talking to the linesman immediately because he's like, right, he's all the way over there. I swear we're not trying to waste time, but like we always use Mbenge. So like Mbenge then has to run all the way across the pitch, while Craig is going, he's coming, I swear, like it's going to be all right. Like, anyway, very, very funny. I was convinced he might get himself a second yellow, but he didn't. So there you go.
What did you give Charlie Savage?
6, maybe. A 5 or a 6. A 5 is not a bad grade. 5? He didn't touch the ball.
God!
But yeah, I get
it. It doesn't... I can't even...
Ratings.
5? God! What did you give Cham Campbell?
Joe... 5. Yeah, I wasn't super impressed.
Yeah, okay,
here's the context. Hang on, here's the context. I gave every midfielder who wasn't named Harvey Nibbs a 5 Tuesday. I thought there were issues with the midfield that Harvey Nibbs was helping to gloss over, basically. So even Lewis Wing, the imperious Lewis Wing, my lord, I gave him a 5.
You gave him a 5 as well, did you?
Yeah, because they kept coming flying at us in that second half, and it was causing issues.
The game's gone.
The
game has gone.
Utter woke nonsense.
It is. Yeah. 5s. I can't even... Just 1 away from home for the first time in a year or something, and he's giving out 5s.
Are you forgetting
Mr. Toad?
Savage could have put the game away in minute 47. So that's like, not again, like I don't think that he played poorly. I just that, that he didn't do enough to get to the 6 for me, basically, which is all it was. But no. In general, nothing to complain about. 6-point week so far, and a very good chance to make it a 9-point week for the first time in donkey's years. So there you go. Good week.
Well, I've got a stat that I'm going to share exclusively in the preview section. So we're gonna slip straight into the preview now in the absence of a mailbag because I'm conscious that it's 3 minutes past 10 and we're all ready for bed.
Yeah.
So let's do the preview now, and I'll remember that we're being recorded and we're going to go on YouTube or something. So give us a minute and we will be back. Right, so welcome back to the final part of episode 393. Before we record episode 394 in 48 hours' time, no, less than that, 36 hours. But yeah, we're gonna do it during the game. We're gonna record the pod during the game at different intervals. How bonkers is that? So look out for that. That's going to drop probably Saturday evening, I would imagine, for the Bristol Rovers game, for the Gas. Stupid name. Point
for Saturday.
Well, it could be Sunday morning, but anyway, we're going to record it at the game, so it should be chaotic. It should be great. We should have some guests on that just randomly appear. So we've always wanted to do it, and we're doing it. So that's what we're going to do. Exclusive stat for you that I've created for myself, and I've not read from anywhere else. If Reading #FC win on Saturday, it will be a first 9-point week since February-March 2021 when the Royals beat Rotherham United 1-0 away, Blackburn Rovers 1-0 at home, and Sheffield Wednesday 3-0 at home. Ironically, we subsequently won just once in our final 11 games of that season. We're going for our first 9-point week in front of fans, in italics, since December 2019, January 2020, which was actually 4 wins in 11 days under Mark Bowen. And that's a stat that I've found and researched and written exclusively for this pod. So what do you think of that, Ross?
I like that one. Can you tell me if the rifleman George Pushkas was involved in that? And I've just sprung that on Ben, so I don't know if he can, but I think he does.
Probably.
I think that might have been one of his goals in a Reading shirt. Wonder what he's up to these days. I'll look it up sometime soon, maybe for the podcast on Saturday. But yeah, it would be great to.
Forgotten man, George Pushkas. Yeah.
Funny note for you. So I'm looking forward to the game, obviously, and it's going to be great recording the podcast, around the whole thing. My boss at the the club that I coach for, because there's a lot of us in this club, by the way. There's about 50 of us. There's a lot of coaches. He is a Bristol Rovers Academy product. And I told him obviously that I was going to the game and looking forward.
Listen, hold on, we've all had trials, mate. Yeah, we've all had trials.
Right.
So that's not.
I mean, he spent his playing career at Bath City, so it's nothing too crazy. Don't worry.
Where?
Bath City, Bath Town. I don't even know, but Bath. So, I'm of northern stock. This is the issue. So I do say Bath. America's been too.
Sounds like a product.
Let me go ahead and ask you a question to start off the preview. Then. Wareham or Smith?
Oh, don't. That's a horrid question. Yeah. I'd go Wareham. I wouldn't change the team he started with against Exeter.
Okay.
Because I just think I know people say don't change a winning team, but he changed it against Crawley. I think certainly one of those was a must in terms of the goalkeeper. I think there's no questions asked about that. I think chucking Wareham in, whilst deserved, was still a brave call from the management team.
Yeah,
and I was really pleased for everyone when it came off within 58 seconds or whatever it was. I would personally go Wareham. I'd just go, look, do you know what? You started the game really well. You did everything you needed to do. You got on a score sheet. Do it again. Yeah. The thing that we've got now is confidence in these players. Like, they've got confidence in each other as well. And I am fully expecting us to go into the game on Saturday and win the game. I'm expecting that.
Me too.
When we lose 5-0, people can come back to me and go, well done. And I'll go, thanks.
Yeah.
But actually what I mean is I just feel confident about it. I feel happy going into these games. I feel like there's no reason we should be worried about going into the game, particularly against where they're at in their season. And and the emphasis on us to play well. And I think Wareham is a part of that. He's a big part of that at the moment in terms of actually being proactive in the game. I'm not saying Smith isn't, but picking up on the points you made about him potentially not being fit or ill or whatever it is, he just doesn't seem to be quite right at the moment, and Wareham is quite right, and I think you just go with that, you know.
Next one then in either or, and I'll chuck something in on this after you're done with it. Would you start Campbell or Akonde in this particular game? I know you just said not changing the lineup or whatever, and that implies that Shem Campbell would keep his place. But any thoughts there?
I would probably go Campbell.
Okay. So I'm with you on Barham, but I'm not with you on Campbell. But you can give me your Campbell thoughts first if you like, because yeah.
I think the emphasis on him to stake a claim, and I think the more he plays in this system, the more likely that is going to be. I think there are rough edges to his game, but I don't think that's because of where he's at in his career. That's more to do with the way that we want him to play. I think with Akande, he is raw and he is rough, and there are some bits that need to be polished off, and that's because he's in that career. And what you don't want to do, and I'm completely contradicting myself here in terms of Andre Garcia, but you don't, it's not. It's Andre Garcia's shirt to lose at that position.
Yeah.
Akande's got to do more to be able to win the shirt from Campbell, and I think we need to be able to see what Campbell is able to do, particularly at home, before we start making decisions on it. The jury's still out for me on Campbell, if I'm completely honest. I kind of gave him a bit of beef on the pod with Sarah a couple of weeks ago, and the next game he scored 2 goals. But if I'm honest, I think I would have scored 2 goals in that position in that particular game. So I'm still not sure where he's at. I'm still not sure where his kind of positives are, but I think he needs to be given the opportunity to express himself again in those positions. That's what I think.
If we start the same midfield, then I would probably say Campbell, because I did like how Nibs and Campbell were interacting together, and I think it goes under appreciated sometimes how much football. It's a big pitch, and it can just be about partnerships on that pitch. It used to be talked about all the time how Neville and Beckham were great together, as an example of a very old school partnership, but. It's not just something for strikers. There are things that happen all over the pitch that are done in partners. And I think that those two worked quite nicely together in the first half. There were times when Campbell was trying to take kind of like a perfect touch against Exeter. And because of that, he ended up skewing it off his foot or losing it or something like that, when just a touch beyond the defender to chase into space might have been the right decision instead. What I'm liking about Akonde right now is the ball to the near post. He wants to hit pretty similar cross every single time, which if we were in a better league might be an issue, but a lot of the time it's enough to completely pull defenses apart. And Sam Smith does like a run to the near post. So I know we just said Wareham would maybe start instead, but I'm liking what I'm seeing from Akonde. But I did just defend Shem Campbell a few weeks ago too. So options, I think.
Yeah, I don't think he needs defending. I'm just not sure about him. I don't know if that's because I know that he's probably only going to be here until January, unless of course the ownership changes and we can buy him in. But in his current kind of performance level, does he add more to our team? I don't know. I'm not. Yeah. I can't give you anything. I'll pick up your point about crosses. I think crosses are a problem for us. I don't remember us in the last few games actually putting the ball in the box. Traditionally, not lumping it in, but like flashing it across goal for people to dive into, or creating the space on the wing so that the ball can come in. I don't see a lot of that. And I like crosses. I like players. I like my wingers to be traditional. I like them to get down the byline, take the player on, zip a ball across. Brilliant. Love that. But I'm not seeing a lot of that at the moment. I don't know. I think either way, we just need to get on at them on Saturday. We just need to really take the game to them very, very quickly, because they're pretty iffy overall. and actually we've got the confidence, and we should be able to go, right, actually, do you know what? It's our game to lose,
Right.
and just go for it.
Yeah, no, I agree. They've righted the ship a little bit recently. They've picked up 3 wins in their last 5, which has kind of helped put together quite a bit of their points total so far. So they're in a little bit of a better run of form, but I still think that this should be our game to lose, no matter what team we put out there. And one last thing, I thought the Exeter, that was the first time when we've had a few game changers on the bench, which was really exciting. Now, I know I've said that Elliott came on and I wasn't actually super impressed, and Smith came on, I wasn't 100% sure if he was fit. But at the same time, when you announce your lineup and then you look at your bench and, we have Sam Smith available on the bench. We have Elliott available, and Spencer, who put in a good shift.
He was positive. He was very positive. And that's the thing about Crawley, is that we had some really nice cameos in there for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So that's actually something to be excited about, is that somehow through man management, through, I don't know, development, through the academy and Noel's work, like through all of these things, the team, the shallowest team in the world, has somehow put a little bit of depth in there. And we actually now have, we have some game changers on the bench, no matter who we start. So I think that's really exciting. I'd like to see Kelvin, get a goal. Maybe I think it's time for him to really crack on again this season. But I liked, the basic bits of what I was seeing against Exeter in the first half, and he's still an issue with his size. So I don't think you'll be, they'll be bumping Kelvin anytime soon. So that kind of really just leaves those 2 forward positions that I mentioned. And yeah, I think I think I'd go Wareham and Akande, but I can definitely see the argument to go Wareham and Campbell again. So yeah, exciting to have just a modicum of depth in the team again.
What a word! I love that word.
It's a good one. Yeah,
that's because you've been reading all the books behind you, isn't it?
I don't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all of this behind me is helping. Which, dear Lord, I've just seen Ayn Rand on the my dad's bookshelf. We better wrap this thing up very, very quickly. That's a little bit, because
score prediction Saturday. Score prediction.
This is the Cambridge game, 4-0. There you go. Just because I'm there and I want to see a win. My wife is a good luck.
I said 3-1. I went 3-1. Reading
3-1. Okay. Yeah, I could see that as well. My wife, we always seem to win when she's in the building. So let's go with that. The last 2 games that she's been to see have both been wins against Exeter. So I don't know, if you want to see a win against Exeter, just wait until I'm in the building with the wonderful Katrina Webber, and you're guaranteed, basically. That's how that works.
Nice. Well, listen, we're going to wrap it up there. We're going to leave it there. We've heartily enjoyed this pod. We hope that you have too. I won't say enjoyed, like we enjoyed doing it for you, and hopefully you enjoy listening as well. And I know we're a little bit later this week. We're slowly sort of getting back into a Monday recording for Tuesday publishing routine. But life is life, right? The main thing is we do it and we get it out, and you can have that. But you're going to have 2 pods in fairly quick succession. So enjoy this one. Enjoy your Friday, because it is Friday tomorrow, or rather today when you're listening to this. Yep. And let's hope for 3 succulent points, 3 delicious, 3 hearty points on Saturday to give us our first 9-point week in a long time, from the stat that I made up that I can't remember what year that was. But anyway, we're getting there. We're slowly but surely getting there. We're moving. There's positivity. Ross, I will see you on Saturday bright and early for a 12:30 kickoff. Listeners, enjoy.
And big up the Shamrock Rovers. So, yeah. All right.
Absolutely. All of the teams. Football's the winner. The winner. Have a good one. We'll see you soon. Thanks for listening. And come on, you R's.